Roberta.
And this is Ryan, and this is the Midweek News
On Art Blog Radio. Okay, so how was your weekend?
My weekend was fine. Obviously, as you saw, I did not win any Academy Awards. So I've asked ChatGPT to write me a very angry email to send out scathing that I wasn't even nominated. But maybe next year. I had my dress and everything. My gown was ready to go. My plastic surgeon was on standby just in case I needed it. You never know. If things get droopy right at the last minute, you need to call in the experts. I have funny feelings about those kind of award shows.
I mean, it's like anything you vote on, right? People vote for various reasons, and some of the reasons are valid and some of the reasons are not valid. And so some of it is popularity of the actor or the director. Some of it is actual quality, which is indefinable on a certain level, but very idiosyncratic to whoever is voting. They know what quality is. And so they're voting based on individual thoughts and whatnot. So I've seen a lot of Oscar nominated movies that were not so great, and a lot of Oscar movies that have received awards that were not so great, and some that have been terrific. So it's a crapshoot, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all about marketing. It's about marketing when it boils down to it. I mean, how many eyeballs watched the Oscars? That means something to someone who's selling advertising or making money off of that. So,
Yeah.
And the red carpet, everybody loves the red carpet, watching the people sashay down the red carpet. So that's fun. It's entertaining. Right. So if movies are entertainment, the Oscar awards should be entertaining. And they deliver on that, I think, even though you were not nominated or on the red carpet.
Yep. No, next time. But there was, so I think what's interesting about the Academy Awards was that Anora won quite a few awards. And I think what I find most interesting about that is that film cost around $6 million to make versus a Marvel billion-dollar epic, which I think is really interesting.
It's good. It's a small movie. Yes, I look forward to seeing it. I don't know much of anything about it, but it got a lot of awards.
It did. Well, when you watch it, give me a call because I have strong opinions about it, as you might be surprised to learn. Yes, I saw it in theater. I went with a friend of mine, and she thought it was hilarious. And I don't tell you how I feel about it. But yeah, I've had several conversations with several different people. I think most people have enjoyed it on some level, and there's certainly portions of it that I enjoyed. But that whole plot thing really got in the way for me. That whole story, I didn't understand it. And I was thinking, I don't know if we should do a segment on films that we watched. I have little side segments to our podcast. But I was thinking, since we both read and write, I was reading something that popped up in my feed is an article that was written in Inc. magazine. It's entitled, "In 77 Seconds at the 2025 Oscars, Ben Stiller Taught a Brilliant Lesson in Emotional Intelligence." First of all, from a marketing standpoint, that's excellent SEO. Just packed. It's good stuff. And then it was written by Bill Murphy Jr., touts himself as having 170,000 subscribers to his daily newsletter. He's written ebooks including 9 Smart Habits of People with Very High Emotional Intelligence and the, quote, free book of neuroscience. If I could, I just want to read you what I found wild. Towards the end, it's like one of the last paragraphs, he writes, "Anyway, my favorite definition of emotional intelligence for quite a while now has been the learned ability to leverage emotions, both yours and other people's, to increase the likelihood that you'll achieve your goals."
Whoa, that is so manipulative. I hate it.
I do too. And I was just thinking, isn't that how you define like a sociopath?
Yeah.
How is that emotional intelligence? Maybe why the Academy Awards are not for me. This is why I don't read books like 9 Smart Habits of People with Very High Emotional Intelligence. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
I am clearly not his target audience. Because leveraging your emotions to win? Oh, wow. That hasn't come up in therapy for me, but maybe I should see his therapist.
Well, I would say there's a lot of that going on in Washington, D.C. right now. And so those people probably are all acolytes of this guy.
That's exactly what I was thinking too. Is like maybe this is not so much a one-off, so much as a syndrome to what's going on in the white male cis world. Like, oh, we're so highly intelligent. Look at us go. Someone pat us on the back. Oh, we've written a book on how intelligent we are, and emotional intelligence is much the same because look how successful we are. So clearly, we're emotionally intelligent. You know, Elon Musk has his child on his shoulders for a minute, and now he's like father of the year. Kind of the similar thing. He's leveraging it to win. Yeah, I was thinking, wow, this is really connected.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for letting me anecdote that.
It is pathological, and
Yes.
we'll just leave it at that.
Anyway, so that's something I've been reading and something I would not recommend.
Yeah, the not being the active part of that sentence. Well, I had an okay weekend. I actually went to 2 art shows, and they were both wonderful. The first is at Asian Arts Initiative Crescendo, which was curated by our own contributor, Joyce Chung, curated by Joyce, who is the curator at Asian Arts Initiative, first curator at that organization. They've done multiple guest curations in the past, but she's the first on-board curator, and she's marvelous. And the show is documentary, and it's about, she's calling it a movement, a biracial movement, Asian and Black artists and musicians coming together from 1981 to 1999 for activism for their communities and for, against the wars and things of that nature. There was a panel discussion that was out of this world great, all about, there were three musicians, one African American and the other two Asian American. And, to hear it from the musician's point of view was really great, going to an art exhibit. So I really thought that was a marvelous introduction to the whole concept, how interwoven the art and music was back at this time in these communities. And it's not all the way through the country, but I think she singled out like Detroit, Chicago, Philadelphia, and Los Angeles. And those were the cities where this was happening, both in art and music. So I would recommend going over to Asian Arts. And that show just opened, and they have a bunch of, there's a well-being workshop and a book event and performances. And in addition, they have a sound type music festival happening with their writers in residence program. So jam-packed full of activity over at Asian Arts these days. That show, Crescendo, is up until June 28th. So you have some time to go see it. It needs time. You need to spend time with it. It's all documentation in glass vitrines, on the walls. And then there is the contemporary group Fortune in Philadelphia has a little component where you can interact with, they're collecting information about what you think and feel about XYZ, this, racism and whatnot. And then there's a little hands-on book, I don't want to say kiosk, it's a little movable furniture segment that has books in it, on it, and you can move it around however it makes you comfortable to sit and interact with the books. It's really a creative endeavor on the part of Asian Arts and Joyce to put this together, and it's a massive amount of research that she did. So congratulations, Joyce. We love your show. The other one I went to quickly, I will mention, is Make or Break: Creativity as an Act of Survival, which is at the Maguire Art Museum on the St. Joe's campus. I've mentioned this before. This is the exhibition of the Keene Collection, which is the collection of outsider artists, those who have been incarcerated and made art in their incarceration, either in prison or in mental institutions. And it's a marvelous show. The work is wonderful. Some of it you will recognize if you have been following the outsider artists, like Martin Ramirez is in this exhibit, and Adolf Wolflieb. And then they have a little catalog, cute little catalog, very nicely designed, and with a conversation that was held with some people of knowledge, experts in this particular area of art. And the catalog is $20. I bought it. It's highly worth it. I'm enjoying reading the conversation, and it's got all kinds of pictures and the biographies of the artists. Highly recommended. And, it's the first time I set foot in the Maguire Art Museum. Now is where the Barnes Foundation used to be, on Latches Lane in Marion, which St. Joe's University has now taken over. I'm not sure if they bought the building from the Barnes or if they're leasing it, and it doesn't really matter. It's the Maguire Art Museum, and they've done a good job with it. It looks really good. The shows are wonderfully hung. They have the Grand Salon, which, if you remember what that Barnes Foundation Grand Salon looked like, it's what you see when you go to the Barnes Foundation on the Parkway now. You walk in, the first room is the Grand Salon, and it doesn't look anything like Albert Barnes's Grand Salon with the Cézannes and Renoirs and Van Goghs and whatnot. It has contemporary art from the St. Joe's University art collection, including a beautiful piece by Marta Sanchez, other local luminaries. A trip to the museum, it's free. They ask for a donation. You can put in a few bucks or not. It was just good to revisit that space, and I was delighted to see this show. This is a really good show, and it's up until March 30th. Only the month of March now.
Okay, yeah, I have to see that show.
Yeah, it's very good. You'll enjoy it. And then downstairs, they had a Hiroshige woodblock print show, which was interesting, curated by students. They have an art history department, a small art department for studio artists, but a very, I think, robust art history department. The students curated the show and got to write up the information, the wall cards for each piece. Very beautiful. So there's lots to see at the Maguire Art Museum right now. And that was my weekend.
Yeah, my weekend, so Reese's birthday ended up being like a two-parter. So we ended up doing that. After that evening, I went to the Half-God of Rainfall. I know I had mentioned that in a previous episode. It was good. I'm looking forward to talking with our friend Eric Marsh about that. He said, talk to me after you see it. So I saw it. So now I'll have to talk to him this week. But it was really interesting. Whenever I see something that's like sport related, I'm not particularly inclined to see it, but I thought it was really well done. Everything done at the Wilma is solid and it's so professional. But I thought the story was really, really interesting. I really enjoyed how they did it, and the production value was high and the performances were excellent. I'm really curious to get his perspective on he was part of the pre-show kind of giving some feedback as well. So I'm really curious what the process was for the production, but I thought it was a successful show. I thought it was a lot of fun. It's closed now, but I think it's certainly sparked a lot of questions and comments about Philadelphia and theater in Philadelphia and what we're trying to accomplish. But it was really good. I really enjoyed it. Things at Wilma are pretty solid. So you see something there, you're going to be pretty happy with what you see. And then I also was able to make the opening of Grate, which is our old friend Julia Marsh's and Nico. Yeah, it was good. It was really good. I got myself the first issue. It was primarily focused on UArts. They did a lot of interviews with them, a lot of conversations about what was happening, what was going on, and the overall impact. Well, I'm excited to see what happens more from there. They used Da Vinci Art Alliance space, which also has a show that was opening the next day, which also looked good. So that's kind of a twofer. You're looking for something more to see. Da Vinci has a great opening happening as well.
Great. Well, shall we segue into the news?
Yeah, that sounds great.
First, there's an opportunity for creative entrepreneurs. The GPCA, Greater Philadelphia Cultural Alliance, is launching its second round of Creative Entrepreneur Accelerator grants. So this is a grant of $2,000 for individual entrepreneurs. They would get business consulting and $2,000. We'll put a link in. The application just opens on March 5th, so I think there's some time to apply. look at the guidelines. I'm sure they will have Zoom or something for questions and answers. This is available through the Pennsylvania Council on the Arts. That's something for all of our entrepreneurs out there to apply for. Second, an anniversary. The Philadelphia BYO print celebrates 15 years. They started 15 years ago. Katie Van Vliet and her colleague, both of them graduates of Moore College of Art and Design, noted that there were very few community presses around at that time. And so they founded BYO Print. 15 years later, they're celebrating. So congratulations. There's a whole lineup of activities and a party, celebration party. The party, by the way, they have a physical space in Fishtown, but their party is this Friday, first Friday, March 7th, at Paradigm. So their party is going to be at Paradigm, fifth floor, so upstairs from all the galleries downstairs. And one of the events that they're having is that Commonweal is presenting an exhibition called Printmaking Communities. And that opens on March 6th, which is Thursday night. And that'll be up through the month of March, the 29th of March. And so, they're working in conjunction with Commonweal Gallery, which is very exciting. I love it when organizations collaborate on exhibits and whatnot. Third, there are this is another congratulations, two Philadelphia artists won $45,000 award from the Grants to Artists organization. It's the Foundation for Contemporary Arts is the organization that announced the grants and gave the grants. So Alex Tatarsky got her grant for performance. Alex, if you may recall, did a performance at Glenford that was very highly thought of and has done a lot of performing back and forth in Philadelphia and New York, based in both cities. And then there's Shayla V. Jenkins, the dance recipient. So congratulations to both. We'll put links into where you can read more about this. In total, they gave out $1,035,000 in the grants, $45,000 each. So significant amount of money was spent. And that's the end of my news. So over to you, Ryan.
One bit of news, just an update on something we've talked about before, was Philly won the street art, was voted the best city in America for street art by the USA Today. So that was a public vote for that. And that's the second time Philly has won that. So we talked about that a few weeks ago, comparing to Cincinnati and a few other cities that were high on that list. And so that has now closed. So that's exciting.
Yeah, congratulations, Philly. Mural arts. That would be mural arts.
That's right. So, and I think it's good for the city in general for those kind of nominations. But yep, mural arts specifically. One opportunity that I want to mention that's also something that's coming up is the Philadelphia Asian American Film Festival has submissions for their early bird deadline coming up at March 31st. And we'll have a link to where you can submit those. My theater shout out for the week is Hedgerow Theater Company. It's Nora, A Doll's House. Ibsen had written a play called Doll's House, and this is a updated version of that. So I'd be curious to see how that goes. That's obviously a very famous play in itself. So seeing an updated version of that could be quite interesting. So I'm looking forward to that. Also coming up this weekend, Friday and Saturday, is Nay Dance Theater is performing an Unfinished Her Story in concert with the International Women's Day, which is March 8th. They have 35 plus performers at Christ Church Neighborhood House. That is going to be very interesting show, showcasing 35 local women performing artists. That looks really interesting. And I just did a conversation with Della Cowell, who is the founder of a Nay Dance Theater Company. So you can see that interview at theartblog.org, as well as a lot of other really great articles that have come out in the last week. It's been a busy week of publishing for us.
We're mentoring students this semester, courtesy of Shanoa Baker's critical writing and for design and art. The students are now, they got sent out. Their job was to write reviews. Shanoa was going to work with them and then pass the reviews on to me. and I'm reviewing their reviews and publishing them. So another couple are just about ready to get published, and they're good reviews. I'm happy to do this. It's always exciting to work with young people and collaborate with them. Thank you, Shanoa, for, working with us, reaching out to us.
Yeah, that's really great.
Oh, and I should also mention we have two new writers. Joni Sullivan, who wrote about the show at Blah Blah Gallery, a really nice, peppy, wonderful, informed review, and Evan Charez, who wrote about Gabardine, the David Gaines performance at the Icebox a week or so ago. Wonderful to have them and welcome them to our team of writers.
Yes, very exciting. Well, that's my list. Lots going on. Also, for reference, this is First Friday this week. Keep that in mind if that's of interest. I know there's quite a few openings that are happening in Old City. Lots of good stuff.
And that's about it for me. So I guess we wrap it up.
Sounds good. That's it for me as well.
Thanks for listening, everybody. It's Roberta saying bye-bye. See you next time.
And this is Ryan, and this has been Art Blog's Midweek News. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.